It's Wednesday, November 11. This is the news on PBCJ. I'm Carol Francis. The government will have to find an estimated $5.7 billion to remedy damages caused by weather systems Zeta and Eta in recent weeks. Prime Minister Andrew Holness updated the House of Representatives on Tuesday.
And in Zeta, I had reported that approximately 80 roads were severely impacted. With Zeta, with Eta rather, we have already now assessed 206 roads as being impacted. So under the previous system, we had 80 roads. Under this system, we have assessed 206 roads. Now, whether or not they are additional, we'll be cross-checking. But certainly you can see that it is an increase. So there will be a bill that we will have to contemplate as a parliament as to how we recover.
Another issue on the mind of the Prime Minister is that of squatter settlements. Some of these settlements are built in riverbeds and in areas that makes them vulnerable to flooding.
All over Jamaica, where we are seeing housing on hillsides, on floodplains, on riverbanks, on gully banks being threatened. The point that I'm making, Madam Speaker, is that what happened in our past, where we settled without paying attention to proper engineering, obviously we did not have the information about climate change and the weather impacts on infrastructure. This government and other governments to come cannot continue to have our settlement being done in a haphazard manner.
2,955 hectares of farm produce with an estimated value of $2.5 billion was lost in the recent heavy rains. Agriculture and Fisheries Minister Floyd spoke to the damages done to the crop sector in Parliament on Tuesday.
The crops that suffered most, Madam Speaker, are vegetable crops, including tomatoes, cucumbers, cabbage, lettuce, a lot of our condiments, our scallion, sweet peppers, our plantain, and a lot of our fruits, our vine fruits, our melons, our cantaloupes. Our livestock farmers have not been spared. In fact, our poultry farmers have lost an estimated value of about $12 million, largely across broilers and layers. Our beef farmers have lost about $10 million, with over 295 colonies being lost by 60 farmers.
The Kingston and St. Andrew Municipal Corporation has mapped out an alternate route to restore access to communities cut off by landslides along the Gordontown Road in East Rural St. Andrew. The landslides, triggered by heavy rains, left large boulders and mud blocking a section of the Gordontown Road just outside of an area known as Industry Village. The alternate route starts in Pepine, takes you through Creighton, the Red Light District, Silver Gap, Content Gap into Mavis Bank. In the meantime, Prime Minister Andrew Holness says construction of a new alternative thoroughfare is being contemplated. The Met Office, Jamaica's National Weather Service, is forecasting the island being impacted by a tropical wave now developing in the Central Caribbean on the weekend. The rains may add to the woes of residents of Wees and Beach Roads in Bull Bay. They are now in a race against time to clear up their homes. The National Works Agency, with help from the Jamaica Defence Force, are also in the same race to remove silt and sand from a nearby gully to prevent further flooding. Members of the Jamaica Defence Force rolled up their sleeves to help out with flood defense efforts as the island braced for another hammering from rains forecast to start affecting Jamaica by the weekend. Wees Road is one of several communities in Bull Bay to have been hit by flooding after days of torrential rains. The situation was made worse after the nearby Chalky River burst its banks. More than 50 homes were severely impacted by the flood waters, some seemingly beyond repair. One resident in desperation rented a backhoe to release huge amounts of water that turned her home and yard into a pool. The destroyed homes and dashed dreams of building homes in the community have many feeling hopeless. The new stream running parallel to homes make them also fearful. The stream is a visible reminder of the clear and present danger they faced and might have to face again in a matter of days. This, as the director of the Meteorological Service of Jamaica, Evan Thompson, says the island may be impacted by a tropical wave now developing in the Central Caribbean. The contribution of climate change to the recent increase in storms, rainfall amounts, and the consequent flooding in Bull Bay and other communities across the island are being looked at by authorities. So too the issue of building homes in areas that makes them vulnerable to flooding. Jamaica's human rights record was examined today by the UN Human Rights Council's Universal Periodic Review Workshop Group. It is the third time Jamaica's human rights records are being examined since November 2010.
Jamaica faces specific challenges. These include capacity constraints and our vulnerability to external shocks, which pose very real constraints to the country's ability to implement the full range of measures which we would wish all our citizens to enjoy. The current pandemic is a very real example of a high-impact external shock. The recent heavy rainfalls, yet another. The government of Jamaica will strive to further improve on existing measures towards the advancement of the civil, political, social, economic, and cultural rights of all citizens.
Some schools have reported a smooth start to the Education Ministry's pilot program for face-to-face teaching. Education Minister Favor Williams says an assessment to determine the program's success is being undertaken.
The 17 schools selected to participate in the face-to-face program opened their gates this week.
The schools will have a staggered resumption with different year groups reporting on different days. The high schools and a few of the primary schools will utilize the rotational approach guided by the blended learning model.
Speaking in Parliament on Tuesday, Education Minister Favor Williams shared how the 2 weeks pilot program will be assessed.
The tools include monitoring and evaluation plan, monitoring and evaluation visitation schedule for the data collectors, school resumption observation schedule and checklist, principal interview schedule, and protocol for administering data collection instrument.
Minister Williams says the results will be used to determine the way forward in relation to that mode of delivery of lessons.
This evaluation will be conducted to determine the extent to which the reopening of 17 schools during the COVID-19 pandemic for a period of 2 weeks was done efficiently. It aims to facilitate evidence-based decision-making to determine the successes and highlight further considerations that need to be given to the full and/or partial resumption of face-to-face instruction for the education system as a whole.
Minister Williams also discussed plans to help students not on state care to receive electronic devices for virtual learning. Parents or guardians can log on to oyod.educate.gov.jm to submit an application between November 17, 2020 and December 4.
In the unlikely event that a parent or guardian is unable to upload the information from the application form, the parent or guardian can send the form to the Ministry of Education at the following address. So, to the attention of Own Your Own Device Program, 2-4 National Heroes Circle, Building 1, Kingston 4. Each form will be processed electronically. Therefore, all forms must be uploaded. A reference number will be sent via SMS and email to the phone number and/or the email address provided by the parent or guardian.
The Education Minister says some 36,000 students in primary and secondary schools will benefit from the program. The issue of internet access was also discussed.
The issue that I face in my constituency is my students' inability to access the internet. And I'm just wondering if these devices could be enabled for a SIM card and for the government to per month indicate an amount that would be permitted. Because without that, Madam Speaker, you're giving youngsters devices that they're going to be playing games with.
Having sat in the chair at the Ministry of Science, Energy and Technology for as many years as you did, I'm sure now in 2020, looking back, you probably wish you had accelerated internet connectivity.
For the news on PBCJ, I'm Simone Absalom.
For breaking financial and economic news, plus insight and analysis into Jamaica's markets, we join Gabriel Thompson for the Business Report.
In Tuesday's trading session, the JSE combined index advanced by 1,120 points to close at under 400,000 units. Overall market activity resulted from trading in 74 stocks, of which 25 advanced, 31 declined, and 18 traded firm. The junior market index advanced by 11 points to close at under 3,000 units. Stocks advanced for 138 Student Living Jamaica, Access Financial Services, and Berger Paints Jamaica. Stocks declined for 1834 Investments Limited, AMG Packaging and Paper Company, and Barita Investments Limited. Trading firm were Caribbean Assurance Brokers Limited, Caribbean Flavors and Fragrances Limited, and Siboney Group Limited. Mailpack Group Limited was the volume leader with 9.3 million units, followed by QWI Investments Limited with 2.3 million units, and Trans-Jamaican Highway Limited with 1.8 million units. Now for the foreign exchange. The US dollar on Tuesday, November 10, ended trading at $149.08. The Canadian dollar sold for an average $114.61. The pound sterling traded for $196.39, and the euro ended trading at $178.84. Benchmark Brent oil rose to a more than 2-month high above $45 a barrel on Wednesday on hopes of an effective COVID-19 vaccine and an industry report showing U.S. crude inventories fell more than expected. Brent crude futures gained $1.41 to $45.02 a barrel. West Texas Intermediate crude futures also added $1.41 to settle at $42.77 a barrel. And that does it for this edition of the Business Report on PBCJ. I'm Gabriel Thompson.
Minister of Tourism Edmund Bartlett is optimistic that air travel numbers will pick up as the world learns to live, travel and do business during this COVID-19 era. He addressed the issue at the Jamaica Product Exchange 2020 virtual meeting.
Tourism Minister Edmund Bartlett says since reopening its borders, most of the major airlines serving Jamaica are increasing flights.
These include the following airlines in the Americas: American Airlines, Delta, JetBlue, United, Southwest, Air Canada, WestJet, and Copa. In the UK, British Airways started twice-weekly service to Montego Bay from London Gatwick, adding to its regular London Gatwick to Kingston service. Virgin Atlantic also returned to Jamaica last month with service from Heathrow to Montego Bay. They are operating twice-weekly service, moving to 3 days per week this winter. Since reopening on June 15, Jamaica has welcomed over 211,000 passengers. June to September earnings amounted to some $231.9 million US. Through the end of September, Our year-over-year arrivals was down by slightly more than 60%, but we are starting to see positive signs of a rebound.
According to Minister Bartlett, just about 30% of tourism workers are back on the job, and more jobs could be reinstated with the projected 40% increase in arrivals over the next 6 months. Another major milestone in the sector's recovery is the Resilient Corridor.
Visitors to the island are able to enjoy more of our unique offerings, as many COVID-19 compliant attractions located along our resilient corridors are authorized for visits by tourists. The government of Jamaica, through collaboration between my ministry and the Ministry of Health and Wellness, conceptualized the resilient corridors, which encompass the majority of our tourism regions. These corridors allow us to manage exposure between international visitors and our tourism workers and residents. Our top priority was, and still is, instilling traveler confidence. We want our travelers to feel safe and confident in visiting us, and at the same time, we want to ensure their experiences are enjoyable and our vibrant persona shines through.
Mr. Bartlett says since the opening of the Resilient Corridors, there have been no reports of positive COVID-19 cases in participating resorts.
Making us laugh, that is arguably one of the most important roles of a comedian. Oliver Samuels is Jamaica's theatre and comedy royalty. Even as the audiences change over the decades, Oliver Samuels' impact on Jamaica's culture never waned. Marlon Samuels pays tribute to comedian, writer, actor, director, and even rapper Oliver Samuels, who has approached comedy from various angles.
I was born in Highgate, St. Mary, well, on a banana plantation called Tremolesworth. And I grew up there until I was I went to primary school there, and then we moved, while I was at primary school, we moved into Highgate, which in an area called Harmony Hall. Then I got a scholarship from my primary school, Rosebank Primary, to Dintil Technical High School. I went to Dintil, came out, went job hunting.
Oliver Samuels' first job was a trainee proofreader at the Gleaner Company.
They were insisting on us signing a contract. And because in my head I knew I wanted to be in theatre, and the job was a night job, I said no, I would not sign. So when I went for lunch that day, I decided I wouldn't go back.
The job only lasted a few hours. His next job was at the National Water Commission, NWC. While at the NWC, he began attending the Little Theatre School, where he got training as an actor and started performing on stage. He was a staple on stage and acted in several national pantomimes.
And here's when me go on. And here's
He made Jamaican TV history when he embarked on his most iconic comedic role, playing the lead in the television series Oliver at Large.
I was in Trevor Roan's Schools Out at the Barn Theatre. And this gentleman from Canada came and he saw the show. And at the end of the show, he said, with your brilliance, you should be on television. And we talked and he said, I'm going to get you on television. And he told me he was leaving the island, but when he came back, when he returned, he would have see how he could get me on it. And then he came, and when he came, I was working at the office of the Prime Minister with Babsy Grange at the time, and he saw me and he recognized me and he said, we have to get to work. And he really went to work. He went and he spoke to Babsy. Babsy spoke to Gloria Landerman, and it was a go. Oliver your large, Oliver your large, Oliver your large, Oliver your large, Oliver your large.
Oliver.
Irie.
With bacon trimmings.
What sort of trimmings?
Bacon.
Mom, didn't I tell you? No pork.
It isn't pork. It's bacon.
I'm an embarrassed. I'm an ridiculed. I'm an insulted. I'm an...
She was serious. There's bacon strips all over the chicken. Oliver, you just have to eat the vegetables. Here. There you are.
Sauce of vegetable?
Oliver, the chicken is contaminated with pork. I mean, it's laced with bacon. Eh?
But it's not cooking right now. Look on top it is.
Oliver!
So what are you going to do with that now?
I'm going to put it back into the oven. Look, we can just eat the vegetables and later we can write to Port Royal.
You mean we have to go through all that trouble?
Let me put this away.
No, man. Just scrape off the bacon and give me the chicken.
Oliver, stop kidding. You know you wouldn't go near to anything that's been cooked with pork.
I'm not kidding. Just scrape off the bacon and give me the fowl.
The show was a huge success and made him a household name. He went on to star in the follow-up series Oliver in 1991.
I have a sneaking suspicion that you never go around there.
What do you mean by that, Fear? Why a big man like me would I want to tell you a lie?
Because you mean I don't like to spend money.
Look here now. You want the banana chips and drinks or not?
No, I don't want any banana chips. I want jerk chicken.
Me said there is no chicken. Eh? What do you expect me to do, Fear? Go outside the street, go run down people, fall, catch it, so jerk it, give you?
Forget the argument. Just forget the argument.
Then wait. Why you get so vexed with here? It's not dinner me didn't invite you to, you know. It's the movie.
But I didn't know you were scaring me here to death for hunger, or else I wouldn't come.
So tell me something. Tell me this. You never eat no dinner in your yard?
No, because he was rushing me.
The series cemented his place among the royalty of Jamaican theatre. It also resulted in a cult following of Oliver Samuels in Jamaica and the world.
I was coming out of the car to come and spend my vacation into your nice, beautiful hotel. When out of nowhere, I see this thieving man come to thief me things themselves.
Oh, I apologize for this misunderstanding, but this goodly gentleman is our bellman.
That is what I was trying to tell you, Oliver.
Known for his irreverent comedic material and use of satire, Oliver Samuels is a theatre box office star.
No, butcher man! The price is double!
And everything double. Oh, the price of bread triple. The price of soda triple. And the price of the saltfish fritters triple.
He also starred in a number of films and commercials.
Cheese is a thing I man eat every day in a combination. Not different way.
Me too. We love it with the crackers and bun.
And at the bowl and cheese, it nice can done.
He's not only an actor and a comedian, he's also a shrewd businessman. He has the Midas touch. Every play he wrote or acted in turned into gold.
How am I like to make man go street?
So where are you going?
Street!
He's also known for unearthing a new talent.
Sir, me is the head boy, sir. Me already marked the register. Everybody are present. What a pity.
2020 marks 50 years since Oliver Samuels became involved in the entertainment industry. It's a huge milestone for a man who started life in humble beginnings on a banana plantation in St. Mary. For the news on PBCJ, I am Marlon Samuels.
More than 220,000 Jamaicans are living with diabetes. This represents some 13.6% of our population. What is not known is the link between diabetes and our dental health. HD Jazz tells us all about diabetes and oral health in this week's episode of Living Healthy.
Hi, welcome to another episode of HD's Jazz. We're in season number 7, and I am on a National Heritage Site right here in Holywell. And today I'm going to tell you about Sweetie Come Brush Me. I found another gorgeous spot. If I don't tell you where to find this, you would never know. Holywell has all these beautiful jewels, like this beautiful waterfall, tranquil, peaceful, soothing. So you know what else is soothing? Food. Comfort foods have a lot of sugars, and that provides energy. And if the body is working well, your pancreas takes those sugars, opens the keys to the cells and energizes them. But if it's not working well, you may end up with a condition known as diabetes. Lots of people have heard of the term diabetes, but I'm not sure that they understand exactly what happens. So you know something? With diabetes, you have to be very careful because you're very prone to infections. And if you have an infection, it can create complications. I'm pulling you into the mouth now. Periodontal disease. Have you ever heard of that? The periodontium is a fancy name for the soft tissue, as in the gums, and the bone underneath the gums that hold the teeth in place. When you are not brushing and flossing regularly, the soft buildup that accumulates every day becomes hard, and it eats away your bone support, and it causes the gums to become inflamed. If I should take that amount of inflammation that is in your mouth when you have periodontal disease and put it on the outside, it would be about the size of your palm. Now, any diabetic knows that a small infection is a problem. An infection that size is almost at a crisis stage. So here's the thing. Diabetics have to make sure that they are free of periodontal disease. Because if you have periodontal disease, it can hinder the control of diabetes. But then if your diabetes is not controlled, it can hinder the control of periodontal disease. So the two have to work together. So brushing, flossing, visiting your dentist regularly, and if you're diagnosed with periodontal disease, get it treated immediately and controlled. If you control the periodontal disease, you help to control the diabetes. Simple as that. Then you can come to places like this and enjoy. See, I found this great little rest stop on my way back from the waterfalls. Remember, sweetie, come brush me. Diabetes means that you have additional sugar building up in your body. If you are diligent with brushing away plaque and using your floss accordingly and treating periodontal disease, then you can make a big difference in controlling diabetes. Listen, I'm out of here. See you next time. Facebook, YouTube, and our LFD website. See you next time on HD's Jazz. I found this great little rest stop. Okay, here we go. Means that you have excess.
In regional news, Bahamians are being warned by their Minister of Works that if payments owed to the island's electricity provider are not made, disconnections will continue. Georgia Bain reports.
Minister of Works Desmond Bannister is urging customers who find themselves in arrears with their power bills to go in and make arrangements at their local BPL office. According to Bannister, disconnections could continue as long as those power bills continue to climb.
If BPL don't get some money in, they cannot keep the generators going. It's a simple fact of economic life. So I don't want to give you figures for that reason, because we do have people who will deliberately push it, even when they can pay.
Amid criticism over electricity disconnections in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic, which has left thousands without a job, Bannister insisted that BPL records an average of $90 million in outstanding payments on a good day.
In good times, BPL usually has $90 million each month in arrears. $90 million to $100 million. Every month, BPL has to buy fuel. Every single month. They have to keep power on for the rest of us. And so they have to be able to put financial agreements in place for people who haven't been able to pay. That's all they want. They are just like the rest of us. They have tremendous amount of empathy. And I would urge anybody who has a challenge to just contact them.
Though the minister maintained the company is not conducting a disconnection exercise, up to October 23rd, the power company disconnected over 3,000 customers. Bannister stressed the importance of bringing in revenue.
BPL can't go to the public treasury and say, I need $10 million this month. I need $20 million this month for fuel. They have to buy fuel. They have to pay their staff. They have to continue to exist. And the only way they're going to exist is if they get some revenue in. The company can't send the employees down to social services and say, go and get some food. They still have to pay the employees because those people are still working.
Reporting for our News, I'm Georgia Bain.
In sports, Roston Chase has gotten the nod to be the West Indies vice captain for the tour of New Zealand. According to a Daily Nation report, the 28-year-old Chase replaces opening batsman Craig Brathwaite in the position for the Test series against the Black Caps. The promotion comes in an effort to improve the Windies' chances against New Zealand. The Caribbean side has not won a Test series or a Test in New Zealand in 25 years. And that's our package. Join us again tomorrow, same time, same place, for more news and sports right here on PBCJ, the People's Station.